Hey, welcome to another Suave and Sassy Seniors with Sonia. I'm so excited to be bringing you all this show because here again, so many people look at seniors as the forgotten generation or as invisible people. But we're here today to say that seniors, especially this Suave senior that I have with me today, he's not forgotten and he's not invisible. So we want to bring value and empower and enlighten our greatest generation. To me, as we age, we become our greatest generation. There's so many nuggets that we can glean as we age or from older people. So today we have a guest here that's going to be talking to us. He's one of our Suave seniors, and he has a wealth of information. His name is Dr. Walker. He has served our country with the United States Air Force. I'm going to let him explain and talk about himself. He was a radio host in New York. He's written books. He's a doctor. He's just a well-rounded individual, and he has a little suave kick to himself. So we're going to introduce him to you all, and just we're going to glean from him. We're going to learn from him, and we're going to just see what he has to say to us about our generation. So welcome, Dr. Walker. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, everyone. And Sonia, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Since you told me that we were going to do this, I've been very excited. You know, as you mentioned, I was on the radio in New York City. We had so much fun. Okay.
Right.
I mean, we got on the radio and we just let it fly. People would call in and they would they would ask all kind of questions and we just let it rip. Okay. I mean, there was nothing that was held back. So I was very excited. I feel like I'm back in the studio and it's just great to be here.
Great, great, great. Now, Doc, so tell us a little bit about your military life and going to medical school, and just what you want to share. Just share some information with us about military and medical school, and young people now that's going into the military or maybe thinking about going to medical school.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I would like to start out with what you mentioned earlier. You asked me about golden nuggets. If you don't mind, I'll start out with a golden nugget, and then that golden nugget will take me to the rest of the conversation, if that's okay.
That's great. See, what Doc has asked, what Dr. Walker is saying, I ask everyone when they come on if they could leave a nugget with us, something that we could take and treasure and help us go on in life and continue to be some value and wisdom. So, Doc, what's your golden nugget that you want to leave with us?
My golden nugget is don't ever accept a lie. Now, you might say, well, what does that mean? That can be anything. Yeah. Well, the first place, the original lie is that you are less than what you were created to be.
Okay, now.
People will come along your life. They will tell you all kinds of things which are not true. The original truth is that you were made in the image of God. Now, if that's true, imagine that. If that's true, anything less than that is a lie. And why do I bring that up? Because coming out of high school, they told me I was not college material. They told me that I couldn't do this. They told me I couldn't do that. And then I had one person, and I'm still married to her. It's 55 years. One person told me that if you believe what they told you, then you're really dumb. And what she meant by that is I bought into the lie that I was not college material, that I wasn't smart. I bought into all of those deceptions. And she was the one voice that I heard that said, it is not true. And so listening to her voice resonated in me that even though I had to go back to high school for 6 months, I didn't graduate on time. And then when I finally graduated high school, I tried college. Okay, operative word, tried. Now, having said that, I had to drop out of college, junior college, the first year, the first semester before the midterms I was failing everything,
Are you serious?
everything. And so the smartest thing I did was, let me drop out now before this gets registered and it's recorded. So I dropped out and went into the Air Force. Now, in the Air Force is where I really began to realize that my wife, by the time I was in the Air Force, we were married for maybe about a month or so, that the things that she had told me, I mean, she was 18. We got married at 18. At 18, she had this amount of wisdom to tell me these things that changed the course of my life 180 degrees. And then by the time we were seniors, I was in my fourth year of the military. She asked me one day, she said, if you can, when I was in the Air Force, I was trained as a combat medic, and I was supposed to go to Vietnam. But she had told me, she said, listen, you are too smart just to go in and accept whenever you have a training, whenever you're in training, you need to excel. And so I started excelling in everything that I did. I was always in the top 5 or 10%. And that propelled me to go to a different school that was available in the military. So by the time I got to my last year of the military, my fourth year, my wife said to me, if you can do all the things that they threw at you, why can't you go to college? And it was like, yeah, that makes sense. So she said,
Right?
try one course. I tried one course. I did very well. But then I told my wife, I said, you know what? I don't believe it. She said, well, if you don't believe it, go back and take the second half. So I took Chemistry 102. I did very well. And for the first time, it dawned on me that what she told me was true. That all those years, the reason why I had to go back to high school, the reason why I had to drop out of college was because I bought into the lie that I
Yes.
wasn't what God said I was.
Doc, we have to pause right here for the cause. What you just said is epic. And let me tell you why for two reasons. The first reason, it's important to realize who's speaking into your life. Your
Absolutely.
wife at 18, she had enough in her to tell you and believe in you. And so it's important to have positive people in your ear, even if it's and more importantly, your spouse, because that's the person that's closest to you. If you're married, if your spouse isn't speaking positive in your ear, then that can make or possibly break you in a lot of instances. Not in every instance, but a lot of it, because that's the closest person. So your wife at that young age, before she was even your wife, she spoke positive in you, and that made a difference. That changed the trajectory of your life. If she wouldn't have
Absolutely.
said that, you would have believed the lie.
Yes.
So would it be safe to say, if there's a lie out there, somebody needs to speak the truth to that lie, or you need to speak the truth to yourself. Does that make sense? Would it be safe to
Absolutely.
say that?
Absolutely. Let's look at. I teach a course in the prisons to inmates, and the name of my course is the renewing of your mind. Okay, and I go in there to teach them exactly this thing, and I ask them, "Why are you here?" And they give me all kinds of answers. Well, I did this and this. I said, I'm not talking about what you did, but why are you here? How did you were here before you got here? Okay. And
Oh,
they
wait a
look
minute,
at
wait a
me
minute,
and
Doc. You can't drop that and just leave it. You say you were here before you got here. Selah. We have to pause for the cause on that note. I'm gonna let that soak in and marinate. You were here before you got here. I want everybody that's hearing this to take that in. Okay, continue.
okay. So what I tell them is that somewhere along your life, people were talking to you and they were saying things that were lies. You did not have enough inside of you of the truth in order to combat the lie that they were telling you. So you bought into the lie.
Wow.
You had already determined your
That is so good.
future by accepting the lie. The truth says that you were made in the image of God. People don't know how magnificent that is. God created us like himself, which means he is a creator. Therefore, you are a creator. Every being, everything about your life is about you creating things, you being things. The richest place on the earth is the grave. Now, why is that? Because people have taken dreams and books and engineering designs and all kinds of things with them to the grave because they bought into the lie rather than the truth of the magnificent creature that you are. Here you got a guy, me, being brought up in the Johnson Projects at the time in Spanish Harlem. It was the #1 murder capital of the United States for Latinos and black men the ages of 16 to 32. How did I make it out of there and become a physician? I went to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. I graduated from college in 2.5 years with a family. After I got out of the military, I graduated medical school in 3 years instead of 4. I've got all kinds of degrees, and I got my MBA recently in 2017. I am 75. Okay,
Wait a minute,
I
Doc,
got
how
my.
old were you when you got your MBA?
I was 69 when I got my MBA.
Can we please pause right here? So anybody who is listening to this and saying, "I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too this. I'm too that." No excuses.
Another lie.
Don't believe the lie. Don't believe the AIDS lie. Don't believe the health lie. You don't have to believe the lie. Doc, you are amazing. You are amazing. Your story inspires me. I'm so energetic right now. You just, it's just so much. And I'm going to share, if you don't mind, you and I have talked before this show. I'm sure you already said you don't mind me being transparent here. You and I both have dyslexia.
Yes.
Which is people should, if you don't know what dyslexia is, it's a disease that can kind of mess up your learning and comprehension and things like that. But Doc, you went to medical school with that. You didn't even let that diagnosis hold you back. I'm not letting it hold me back. And something that I want to say that you said, I choose to go to my grave empty. Every
Absolutely.
day I'm living my
Absolutely.
best life. I'm not going back
Absolutely.
and forth with nobody. I don't ask approval from anybody but God
Right.
and which way I need to go. I choose to die empty. I don't want to take anything to the grave. When they stand over me, they're gonna be like, "This world owes Sonia nothing."
Right.
If I have to die today or tomorrow, I want to die empty. I'm giving this day everything that I have for this day. Doc, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm just so energized and so encouraged. So let's see here. You talked about middle school. You talked about your life. So let me ask you this. How long have you been married?
Let's say 56 years.
Wow. So she sounds like an amazing woman. I just like that she believed and breathed into you. And it's so important when you're married to believe and breathe into each other's life positively.
Absolutely.
So, can you give people out here that may just be that may have just gotten married or may be thinking about marriage, because that's a whole different subject. But if you can give us a one nugget, 56 years, that's longer than I've been on this earth and a lot of other people. So, can you give us a nugget to staying married from a man's point of view for 56 years? So
It
let's just
goes,
say to the same woman, because people just break stuff up, but to the
yeah,
same.
yeah, yeah. It goes back to the original premise of the original nugget that you asked me to give. Okay. Goes back to the same premise. All right. And that premise is when we got married, we didn't know what we were talking about, what we were saying, but we made a declaration, and the declaration was to one another, but also the declaration was in the heavens. We said to one another, we will never use the word divorce.
Hmm.
Ever. It never comes up. Now, I have to tell you, the word murder is not included in that. But
Now, don't put that in the atmosphere. Now, see, I'm joking, but I
I'm
understand.
joking, of
I
course.
understand what you're saying.
So that's something we never say divorce. Okay. Now, why is that? Because once you infuse the marriage with a toxic word like that, it undermines the foundation of what you said before. Okay. And again, I know this is not a spiritual program, but everything I do has a foundation that is scriptural. It says, if you were to say, and what does it say in the beginning of the book? It says, and God said 26 times. It says, and God said. Well, if it says, and God said he made us like him, anything you say is released into the universe to bear fruit, even if it's negative.
Now, let me tell you something, Doc, how white you are. Your words will take form. Your words will
Absolutely.
take form. Whatever you put out your mouth, it will take form. And if you say something negative, if you say something negative, your brain doesn't know whether it's right or wrong. All it knows is it's going to try to obey what you say. It's going to try to make you believe that what you say. So it's important to speak positive over your marriage, positive over your life, positive over your career, over your children, over your education, over everything that pertains to you. Your words take form. If you don't take anything else away from this today, know it's power in what you say. Wouldn't you say that, Doc?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
The
you don't look
words,
75 years old, Doc.
well, thank you. The words, it says, and God's word is forever. Okay. It's forever. Well, if we're made in his image, our words are forever. Heaven and earth may pass away, but my words will never pass away. And if I'm like him, my words will never pass away. So you've got to guard those words. And that's what I teach. And you already mentioned, but that's what I teach when I go into the prison. I teach them renewing your mind. Well, how do you do that? It's all about your words. Your words have to be foundational. Your words have to be strong. They have to be positive. They have to be creative. They have to be something that will bring substance. In the very beginning of the book, it says, and God blessed them. That was before we even had a body. There was no body and he blessed us. Well, why did he say bless before there was a body? Because he had to store the blessings in the heavens until our words began to formulate what the blessings are, so that the blessings can manifest themselves on earth in our lives for us to get them.
That's it. That's it, Doc. That's it. So we have to guard our words and guard our thoughts because if we don't, we speak damnation over our whole lives.
Absolutely.
That's
Don't
the
utter
way.
it. Don't let, if it's negative, don't let it come out. You
And you
can
know what?
think it, and you're going to think things. You can't help but think things,
Can't help
but
it.
then shut up. If it's negative, shut up. Shut your mouth.
And let me tell you how true you are, Doc. You know, it took me a while to get where I am today, to even, and I'm not in a special place, but I am here. But I had to start every day with just one positive thing to myself, one positive affirmation. And I had to say it over and over again. And believe it or not, it took me a while to find that one because I was so beat down having a learning disability. So it took me a while to get to that. But now that I'm in a place, I have like 30 positive things that I can say about myself in the morning. And that's not being conceited. That's just building myself up because the world is so negative. It's so much negative. People are so quick to say no or say mean things before they say nice things. I want to share this with you. I posted it on Facebook a year ago. I was in Walmart early in the morning. I'm an early person. And I was walking around. It had to be like 4 in the morning and 5 in the morning. And I was smiling because I was getting ready to go to work. And I smile a lot. It just makes me feel good. And the man, he was like, he was angry at me for smiling that early in the morning. He was like, why are you smiling? I'm like, I wanted to say, why you not smiling? But I didn't say that because I'm like, if he said it angrily and I didn't know what he was going to do. So he was like, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy? What is wrong with you? He really was trying to argue with me about why I'm smiling. I realized that I was dealing with a stranger here, somebody with some issues, but people are not normally happy. And even during this time, Doc, I want you to drop a nugget on us about this COVID. Really, really, I know we got to wrap up here, but if you could say one thing about this, what is your thoughts on this? Because I know some of the things that you're creating. You're just, to me, a genius in your own time. But what do you think about COVID-19?
Very
Being a
quickly.
physician.
Yes, very quickly. Number one, wear your mask. Okay? Wear your mask. Don't go hanging out without a mask. Take all the precautions. It's a virus. It doesn't know anything about who you are, where you are, what your name is. It does not care. Okay? It's a living organism willing and ready to take over. All right. Number two, if you don't do anything in terms of medications and so on, start taking 5,000 international units of vitamin D3 every day, especially for African Americans. I'm going to say that again, 5,000 international units of vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 stimulates the immune system. It gets your immune system ready to go to battle, to take on anything that might come against it. And one of these days, maybe I can come back and I can talk about the book. But vitamin D3 is huge in your life, okay? And
You have a book on that?
yes, I do.
What's the name of it, just in case someone wants to look it up?
The name of the book, the title of the book is African American Healthy, and it's all about vitamin D3 and what vitamin D3 does and why so many African Americans have all kinds of chronic diseases and how we can mitigate a lot of those diseases. African American Healthy.
One more time, because I think you got cut off.
African American Healthy.
And that's Dr. Richard Walker?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you said you had one more thing to say, Doc.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say, and you already mentioned it, in your brain, there's an area in the brain. It's right in the back, right here. It's called the reticular activating substance. It's always on 24/7. When you speak, it picks up what you say, brings it into the brain, sorts it out where it's supposed to go so it can find what you spoke about.
So if you say, I'm a horrible person, it's going to find ways to prove to you that you're a horrible person.
Absolutely.
If I say I'm amazing, I'm prosperous, I'm blessed, it's going to find ways to prove that to me. Is that to be true?
Absolutely. That's why the Bible.
I can't lose weight, or I can never public speak. I can't go to school. It's going to find ways to prove that you can't do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Doc. So I thank you for sharing so many nuggets. So many nuggets. Thank you for being such a suave senior. What do you think make you suave, Doc? Tell me, I know you from New York. You got something in there. Something in there, Doc. Come on. I know you smart. I know you a doctor. I know you this, and you don't wrote books. But come on, give me something that we can take away that the young brothers can look up to and say, I want to be like that when I'm 75. Come on now. We got a lot. But
it's two things: Jesus Christ and my wife.
Okay, Doc, but can you dance? I mean, come on now. We done been to church up in here. We done been to church. So give me something. Can you dance? Can you rap? I mean, you got a nice car. Elegant. What? Give me something. Something.
I'm done. That's it. Okay.
Thank you. But you know what? That's more than a lot of people got, and that's a blessing to have. Jesus and your wife. How many children you got? Where the kids at?
I have 2 children, 5 great grandkids.
Wow. Okay, so you skipped a whole generation. You have 2 children and 5 great grandkids.
I'm sorry. 5 grandkids. I don't know what a great kid.
Right. What happened?
I was just checking you out, see if you were listening.
So 2 children, a boy, a girl, 2 girls. What?
1 and 1.
You did well done, Doc. You have left me so inspired. You have got me so pumped. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for empowering us with your wisdom. Thank you for being on our show today. And I just want to let people know that we are going to age if we're blessed. If we're blessed to keep breathing, one day maybe we'll be 75, and hopefully we can empower someone like you did today, Doc. You're silent. You know, cut off your mic. There you go, being 75. You don't unplug the computer, Doc, and you can't get it back plugged up. God bless you, Doc. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Bye bye. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you, Doc.